Did you see all this
Don't give me Kate
Storm Area 51 stuff going on?
Yeah, I just, in fact, last night I just checked that I was going.
You did? You're
Yes.
part of the 1 million, including
It's,
Chuck Norris? Chuck fucking Norris!
It's more than 1 million now. It's like 2 million.
Oh, shit. Can't stop all of us is the hashtag that's going around.
What are they going to do? Start shooting us down?
Yeah.
You think so?
You
think the government's really going to massacre 2.8 million people?
No, but here's what's interesting, though, is that, okay, so 8 years ago, before Obama finally admitted that it was an actual military base, they wouldn't ever say that Area 51 was actually like a secret military base where they did testing in the Nevada desert, right? Mm-hmm. Now they admit to it. Cut to 8 years later, the Air Force said they're fully ready to defend Area 51 from the 2.1 million people that are planning on rushing it. I also saw a meme about how many rounds per minute a 50 cal machine gun shoots off, which apparently they have along the fence lines there. Yeah. So there's that. But I don't, like you said, I don't know that the U.S. government's going to mow down 2.1 million people. Also, I know from every event that I've ever had that just because people check in doesn't mean they're all going to show. So all 12 of you that are planning on actually rushing that place, good luck.
What if you have an American flag with you while you're rushing it? Because I'm pretty sure you take an oath as a soldier not to... What if you have a copy of the Constitution and an American flag in your hand and they shoot you?
Those will look great over your casket.
It's not going to look good when they shoot me, because that's what I'm coming with. The Constitution, when they say, where's your paperwork, I'm going to say the motherfucking Constitution of the United States.
If they actually have the things there that people think they have, I 100% think that there's no possible way they're letting anybody get close.
Well, that doesn't mean they can't lock the freaking doors. And nobody can get in that
way.
Right. My guess is they got some pretty big-ass bay doors. They ain't going to let people in.
I don't know if you've seen the Bob Lazar documentary.
Yes.
But he basically claimed that most of their stuff is underground anyway.
Yeah,
so
I mean, that's what I'm saying. They're not going to... I doubt they would open up gunfire on that many people, but all they have to do is shut the doors.
Oh, no. They would just put an insane amount of military presence there, and they would just round people up left and right and arrest them.
What's funny about that story, though, is it started as a joke. That guy, whoever started it,
it's still somewhat of a joke. Yeah.
No, I mean, I doubt 2 million people are really going to show up.
The funny thing is, I think everyone who's ever thought about Area 51, I remember looking up Area 51 on Google Maps, Google Earth, as soon as it very first came out, and seeing like, holy shit, there is an actual base out there, because this, again, was before they would admit that it actually existed.
Well, everybody knew about it, they just didn't admit it.
And then hearing the Bob Lazar story, which, I don't know about you, but I don't know what to make of that, because I was never someone that believed in aliens in the first place, but my bullshit meter doesn't go off whatsoever with that guy. If you haven't looked up the Bob Lazar story, there's a documentary on Netflix. Check into it.
And he's on, he did the interview on Joe Rogan.
That's true. The only thing with the Joe Rogan interview that I didn't like was that he had a migraine and he was struggling to get through it, and it was a little harder to get a read on him. I feel like I'm pretty good about seeing if someone's full of shit when I listen to him talk, and I couldn't tell at all. He didn't at all seem like he's full of shit.
The one thing that really piqued my curiosity was he talked about the element on the periodic table. That was the one piece of evidence, because anybody can go in there and be like, oh well, they have 6 flying saucers and one does this. And
also, if you're the U.S. government, why would you send every single agency that you have to his small little California laboratory to raid it, because he said he may have smuggled this element out of Area 51? If that's not true, why are you raiding his business and house and everyone who knows him
and covering
and
up,
auditing them and... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and covering up every place he's ever worked.
Yeah, that was the other interesting thing.
And one of them, they could actually prove that he worked there.
Yeah. So the when there's smoke, there's fire thing. So here's the thing, as somebody who's a UFO skeptic, what if, in order to get the top level clearance at a military base that has as much advanced weaponry as that one probably does, what if they set up this initial program where you think you're working on an alien spacecraft, especially back then, before there was the internet, and they convince you that you're working on this thing just to see if you're trustworthy enough to go into the actual weaponry programs that they have. Now, that doesn't fully make sense with this story about jumping into an aircraft and how there was no actual, like he said, it was seamless inside, everything was one color, there was no wires or anything running to anything inside the spaceship that he was a part of. And then also, he's one of the smartest men on the planet as far as his field of expertise goes. So it's probably hard to trick somebody like that into thinking that, like you could trick me no problem into thinking I'm working on an alien spacecraft.
No.
But somebody who turns their Honda into a rocket car might be a little more hard to do.
But I think it may have been Joe Rogan too the other day. He was talking about it with one of his interviews, and it could have been we could have more advanced technology than
anyone knows.
Than we let on.
Yes.
Not saying that aliens aren't real or that Bob Lazar is lying or whatever.
Well, I don't.
Just saying. There's possibilities.
Here's the thing. So we're left, us dummies, myself included, everyone who thinks they're smarter than me. DNA, okay. So
tested.
We're all subject to what somebody in a white lab coat that is much smarter than us tells us is fact.
But just because you're smart doesn't mean you're right.
Right, and which is what I was getting at. So we're all subject to having to listen to these scientists who are expertise in their field without the mental capabilities of comprehending fully what they're telling us.
Yeah.
So he could be smarter than all of us, me playing the world's best prank in his mind. And dude loves prostitutes. He has a criminal record. There's all these things, but I don't think that discredits him in any way. And I just... Like I said, I grew up around bullshitters, and I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of when somebody's bullshitting you. And he's either the best person ever at it, or my bullshit meter's broken. Because
at the very least, he's an interesting character.
Very much so. And
where do you stand on aliens?
Where I came out on it is a lot more open-minded than I was, because there's been so many kooks and so many stories that I've read before
like the Bigfoot
that ended up being bullshit. 100%. And I used to be a Bigfoot believer when I was younger. I wanted it to be true. And now I'm on the other side. Once you get a Bobo running around talking about seeing baby Bigfoots all the time and whatnot, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, watch Bigfoot Hunters.
Yes.
Or Sasquatch. Yeah. There's a squatch in these woods.
There's a squatch in these woods. Look, I found the scat. Why do they call it scat? Why do they just call it poop?
Scat sounds better, it smells better, tastes better.
I got the scat on my head.
But, I'm not sure where I landed on that. I don't... Sorry. One thing I don't think will happen is the 2.1 million people are going to walk hand in hand toward Area 51 and uncover all
this. And as soon as if somebody were to take a shot... Most people were turning back around like, screw this. It's not worth dying over.
Here's what I want to know. If aliens prove to be true and we found out whatever way by storming Area 51 or whatnot, how long before interspecies porn ends up on Pornhub of someone banging an alien?
I mean, probably before it even ends. I would assume. It's probably already on there.
It's probably already on there. It's probably someone spray painted green or something.
I mean, for goodness sake, they have Bigfoot porn, so...
Do they really?
They do. It's a thing.
I gotta go.
Guess what? It's played by a black guy. Spoiler alert.
It should be.
And I've seen it.
And it should be.
And it scares me.
Put Shaq in a gorilla suit and I'll watch it.
Yikes. It's scary. It's scary. And it wasn't consensual either.
I can tell you it's made for a great week or two of internet memes, though, I can tell you that.
Oh, yes, it's been entertaining. Okay, so...
Let me ask you, where do you stand on it?
On aliens?
As a religious man, how do you feel about the possibility of aliens?
I think there's probably life out there somewhere. I just don't know if it's visited us or not.
Yeah.
What I do think, though, is I think because, like, the ancient alien stuff, and I think that at one point the human race was actually more intelligent than they are now.
That's where I have been for the last about 10 years. I thought civilization was much further along than they thought it was, and something happened to wipe out most of civilization. Yeah. And we're discovering left and right now our history keeps getting pushed further and further back, from the Egyptians on forward to whole cities that are now covered by the ocean because global warming, whatever it is. that used to be
the devils.
The devils. They used to be probably where the water level was lower and they were on the edge of the ocean, kind of like every one of our cities is now.
Screw you, Dick Cheney.
So I feel like that's the biggest thing, is civilization used to be a lot further along than it was, and something happened to send us back to cave dwelling type people. A small amount of the population lived, and now we're back to major civilizations again.
Like sometimes when I start puffing on my blue menthol e-cigarette, I start thinking about, like, what if the Egyptians had discovered electricity? And
they may have. They can't figure out how they did a lot of the stuff they did, including the building of the pyramids.
So let's say hypothetically they didn't have electricity. Let's say they never had electricity.
Right.
What if they would have discovered it?
So here's the thing, though. Like, okay, for instance, if you give me a task and you a task, we might get to the same outcome, doing it two completely different ways, right? So maybe civilizations got to where they were previously with different power sources and different ways of doing things than what we have now. And we only have a frame of reference of they had to have electricity. And maybe they did or maybe they didn't, but maybe they had some other power source or some other thing that they discovered or did along the way. We only know from what we have available to us now, but that doesn't mean that somebody couldn't have came up with a different way of doing things back then, the same way that you and I might come up with a different way of doing the exact same thing to reach an outcome. For instance, like what is that tribe that they found, the island tribe that had the skulls that stuck, or not skulls, but the giant carvings, rock carvings. Island. Yeah. So they can't explain that whatsoever about how they carved those, how they got them to where they are without heavy machinery moving it around.
They have an idea of how
they have an idea based on what they think could have happened.
That's what I'm saying. They have an idea.
But what if there was something that no one's ever thought of because we didn't need to think of it because we discovered electricity too quickly or something like that? There used to be a way of doing things that you would never even know because you discovered electricity or gas power or what have you, and so you now have huge power equipment.
Hydrogen power.
Exactly. There could be another power source that you didn't even know about that they had, and that whole civilization got hit by a tidal wave or something, got wiped out, and all of it's lost to history. So who knows? I don't know. I don't know about aliens. I don't know about history. I don't know about any of it.
I certainly think aliens are a possibility. Like I said, I don't know if they've ever visited us though, but obviously there's something out there. Yeah.
The universe is too big for there not to be something else along the lines. And then when they're talking about black holes and separate universes altogether and bending space and time, way too much for my brain to comprehend. I leave that to the smarter people who tell me it's true. But yeah,
some of it's still theoretical.
Yes.
Okay, so I have one more question for you.
Okay.
Do you think that we deserve to, or that we not deserve, but do you think we should know what's in Area 51?
So I think that there needs to be some secrets held by the government. However, looking at how every elected official has acted since they've been elected is basically whatever the people with the most amount of money in the world decide should be a thing is what the politicians do.
Well, from what I understand at Area 51, it sounds more military ran than even as far as government is concerned. Like, I don't even think that the president probably knows some of the stuff that's going on.
The interesting thing is, before Trump got elected, he was very much he believes in aliens, one, and he said if he ever got into office that he would tell us all. So what I want to find out is, after his presidency, barring no one kills him, which I hope doesn't happen, because I would love to hear, like Bill Clinton wrote his book, and he even had a little excerpt in there, basically leaving it wide open about if aliens are real or not.
Yeah.
In his My Life book, he addressed it, one, and then two, like left a little cliffhanger in there to make you think that there's a possibility it could be true. I view Trump as somebody who wouldn't just paint the picture of like it might be true. He would straight up tell you. So,
yes or no,
yeah.
Even if it's...
And the same thing with 9/11. He was somebody who believed that 9/11 was orchestrated type thing, and he said if he ever got to office, he would tell us. Now, I don't think that's something you can do when you're in office, but I'm interested to see what he has to say once he leaves. Whatever you feel about him, I know everybody, or not everybody, but a large chunk of the population hates him or whatever.
Half of them hate him, half of them love him. So,
and I'm on the fence. Like, I hate half the stuff he does, and I love half the stuff he does. So
I'm in the middle too.
You know, so
I'm a third party.
Exactly. So I'm interested to see.
Okay. So here's one more question.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry. Go.
No, go ahead.
So my last question for you is: do you think if they know that, like, so let's just say hypothetically, the government knows that aliens are real, should they tell people? Because there's gonna be if like one day we walk outside and there's a bunch of flying saucers up there, and then you see these little green things running around, there's going to be mass hysteria. Even if we don't see anything, and like President Trump comes up and he's like, by the way, aliens are real. Everybody's going to freak.
Okay, here's my counter question to answer your question. Is somebody going to be freaking out at the fact that their DVR didn't record Keeping Up with the Kardashians, knowing that there's another presence of a completely different world out there that's much more intelligent than us and was able to come to our planet
if I'm a 20-year-old
when we barely got to the moon? It's going to be very hard for you to care about your boss said you have to come in because groceries got to get put on the shelf. Or
if I'm working
at
at a grocery store and my boss is like, you got to get in here. I'm going to say,
I just found out aliens are fucking real. And you want me to come put groceries
I'm not stocking any more shelves, buddy.
That's what I'm saying is, if you want society to run exactly the way as it's running and the economy machine to keep on going, you keep that a secret. If it's for the greater good of mankind, for everyone to be in the loop and every good mind and bad mind out there to give their opinion about what's happening, then no, you don't keep it a secret. But in the interest of the people who were the smart businessmen at the start of our civilization and have gotten themselves to the point where let's be honest, there's 3 companies that run absolutely everything: oil, food, everything. There's 3 major companies basically that run everything, and they have somebody who makes all the money off of those places, Walmart, what have you. Those people want to see the economy keep going. Are you going to go spend your $15, $20 at Walmart if you know that aliens might exist? And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, as a civilization, I get why you would keep it a secret from us if you want the machine to keep on going as is. But in order to get every great mind and opinion out there, I feel like the more there is to know, the more you put out. But, you know, I'm kind of torn. I'm 50-50. I probably would rather just want to raise my kids how I think I should raise my kids in our society without having to think of the big picture of something like that. But at the same time, personally and ego-wise, I would definitely want to know.
Okay, so let's end on this note.
Okay.
You have 2.5 million people. They're in Nevada. They're ready to storm Area 51.
Thank you for your sacrifice.
Yes. Would you advise them to rush it or not?
Here's what I'll tell you. If they mow down 2.1 million people, there's aliens there. If they don't, then it's just their weapons program to figure out how we can overtake every other country.
Do you think that we should rush, or that people should rush it?
I think people should do whatever people want to do. And results will vary, and let the chips fall where they may. Those 2.1 million people, there's probably a lot of things that we could do with those same amount of people if they had the same amount of interest in another thing that would really improve.
We might finish Hands Across America.
We might. There's
a few links in those chains, bro.
I know I'm not being definitive on anything, but I think
you sound like a politician.
I do. Because I don't know. The more you know, I think is a good thing. But also, there's a whole lot of dummies in the world that would do stupid stuff. If you watch Independence Day, there's the guy firing off his assault rifle toward the spaceship. You know what I mean?
He's going to be shooting his Browning 30-30 off at a UFO. And that's it's going to do anything.
What if somebody did come down here and they were a peaceful other species, and then all of a sudden somebody's AK-47
There's going to be somebody shooting at them.
Yeah, exactly.
Those good people who get the biggest anal probe.
There's always going to be the people that decide to log with shotguns. And what I mean by that is they will literally shoot at trees till they fall down with a shotgun. Okay, there's going to be those people out there. And so...
What about that sounds bad, though?
I mean, it's probably fun.
It's a lot of fun.
I mean, I hope the ricochet doesn't take your face off, but... I don't know. I'm just gonna keep giving political answers. I don't have an answer. Or,
aliens. They might be real. They might not be.
I hope you guys do storm it, and I would love to find out what you know. And so would Iran. Yeah. So there you go.
Facebook Live that stuff.
Definitely. I don't know what else to offer.
Hey.
Please like, subscribe, and tell us what you think.
Yes.
Are you one of the ones going to storm it?
Let's hear what you feel.
Here's the thing. They got Chuck Norris now, and he probably has steel-plated cowboy boots, so good luck with your 50 cal. Kick them bullets right out of the fucking air. Yes. Walker, Texas Ranger, bitch.
Out! Out! Yay!